Yo, what's poppin'? Welcome to another Above It All. Yeah, I'm out of breath. I fucking hate this. I hate this. I hate you. I hate everything. Um. Anyway, I'm not gonna do a skit. I was gonna do a skit, but I'm not going to, because I'm just gonna talk. I'm gonna speak. This is raw, unfiltered. That's me. Just like my water. Unfiltered. It's not my cup, by the way. I just use it. But yeah, former George W. Bush officials launched PAC supporting Joe Biden. A group of ex-cabinet secretaries and White House officials in the George W. Bush administration launched a PAC on Wednesday to support presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden, part of a growing network of Republican blah, 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 blah. The rehabilitation of George W. Bush by the liberal media is probably the most disgusting thing I have ever seen over the last few months. I mean, it happened over the last few years. You know, it's been happening basically ever since Trump became the nominee. But this is it. They're saying, yep, we're all behind Biden. Now, this is the thing you gotta wonder. Why is that? Is it because they truly care about the Republic as it stands? No. It's because Joe Biden is a far-right, psychopathic, racist, fucking warmonger loser. He's been going out, he's been trying to outflank Trump on fascist agendas, like overthrowing democratic, countries, over fucking what he, like, the shit that he was saying about Bolivia, Biden, is just reprehensible. The shit that he says about Venezuela has been reprehensible. Comparing Trump to, like, socialism and saying that, like, socialism is evil. It's just like, he's been out fascisting Donald Trump on a lot of things, and it's honestly horrifying. Now, do I think that Joe Biden is better than Donald Trump? As a trans person, I'm mostly into the Equal Rights Act. That's what I'm in. That's what I want. That's my thing. I don't want to fucking die because I'm trans and I live in the South. So that's my thing. That's why I would rather have Biden over Trump. But on literally everything else that I can think of, it makes it so hard. That's the thing, is this makes it so hard. But really, it really does come down to, we are going to have an enemy in the White House no matter what. And honestly, it's been like that literally forever. You know, I'm a huge Bernie person. I campaigned for Bernie. I traveled for Bernie. I did a bunch of stuff for the guy. But that, you know, that was like a Hail Mary. The idea of having an actual president in the White House. Because we've never had an actual president in the White House. Right? The best thing we've got is like Abraham Lincoln, and that guy's a racist piece of shit. Maybe FDR, and that guy was also a racist piece of shit. But there's always going to be an enemy in the White House. And I think Biden is a weaker enemy than Donald Trump. Especially right now. I think in the next 4 years, we could potentially hit the point where millennials and Gen Z overpower boomers and Gen X. I think that pushing point is coming. Maybe not in 4 years, but 8 years? Definitely. 8 years is definitely. But I think Joe Biden is a much easier foil than Donald Trump. Especially if we've got a blue Senate. Because Republicans they sap away our energy. They sap away our time. They make us pay attention to them when they're in power. When Democrats are in power, yeah, sure. Liberals will just go to sleep. They'll go back to brunch, whatever. But we shouldn't. Leftists, we're growing. Like, the leftist movement in this country has been growing exponentially over the last month alone. Nevertheless, the last 6 to 7 months. Especially after Bernie dropped out. Because what else is there? This is the thing. Is we are always going to have enemies in the White House. You know, at least for the foreseeable future. But that doesn't mean we give up, try again in 8 years or 4 years. No. That means we go outside of electoralism. As far as protests go, I don't think Biden would be on Twitter pushing for 10-year sentences for people throwing paintballs. I'm sorry, I just don't think so. Not like shooting paintball guns, but like a balloon filled with paint. Oop! 10 years in prison. I don't think Biden would do that. Biden would make an easier foil. I also don't think Biden would completely disband the coronavirus task forces and pretend that it doesn't exist and claim victory on it. I don't think that would happen. I just don't. So if we didn't have to deal with COVID and we could go outside and protest, that's a hell of a lot easier. Here's the thing here, is the people that have been activated, the people that have been, like, turned on to the left over the last month, especially 2 months, they're not going to go back to sleep because Biden beats Trump. This isn't about the presidency. This is about the root causes. This is about our system. This is about all the fucking bullshit that happened under the Obama administration and then the liberal media pretending like none of that happened. That's what this is about. I don't think the people that are being activated today are going to go to sleep like the people did in 2008 when they elected fucking Obama. I think that the energy from Occupy Wall Street has catapulted all throughout the last 10 years. And is culminated in this energy, this aura you can feel in the atmosphere. It's so pungent that even the national media can't shove it under the rug entirely. The media or the narrative of the idea that people care. The idea that we've had enough. Boomers are on the way out. This was maybe their last election. And maybe they held on. Maybe they held on one more president. Right? I'll give it to him. One more president. One more? But guess what? It's not about the president. Direct action has proven to be effective. We've burned down a police station. People have understood that this is possible. Don't tread on me is no longer just a saying. It's an action. And this is the thing that I think will be different going into a Biden term than going into an Obama term. Is the people, we the people, young people, have been fucked over at every point by a Democrat, by a Republican, by a Democrat, by a Republican, like a fucking clockwork. And it's one of those things where you can't put this genie back in the bottle. And as someone who's way more in favor of direct action than I am in favor of electoralism, I want Biden over Trump. Yeah, sure, Trump might radicalize more people by killing thousands and thousands of more people. But I cannot, in good faith, advocate for the deaths of another 100,000 people due to coronavirus. I can't. And you shouldn't either. This isn't about who the fucking president is. This is about changing society from the bottom up. And that is much easier under Biden, I think, than under Trump. And I'd like to test that theory. Either way, again, if you have a family member that's like, oh, finally, Biden's elected, we can call it quits. Say no, no, no. Remind them of what Obama did. Remind them of what Clinton did. Remind them of how terrible Democrats have been. One term of Trump, maybe, millions of people have died over the last fucking 4 years. And that's an unfathomable tragedy over the last 4 years. I can't even begin to imagine another 4 years. Now, again, Biden is not going to be, it's not like we're going from 1 million deaths to 0. We're going from 1 million to maybe 500,000 innocent civilians dead because of these fucking stupid ghouls. But again, Biden's old. He's frail. He's weak. He can barely walk straight. He can barely fucking speak a full sentence. You think this guy is going to be a tough guy, law and order guy? No. He's going to be a pushover. At least he should be a pushover. If we don't go back to sleep, we being a leftist movement, if we don't go to sleep like what happened under the Obama administration, which I don't think is happening. I don't think anybody has any leftist. I don't think anybody who's a leftist has any pretense about Biden being even a remotely good candidate or a president like people did in 2008 with Obama. We know what we're getting going in, and now we can plan, we can prepare. If Biden is the president, It's all the same enemies that we've been fighting this whole time. The playbooks aren't changing. It's just that the playing field might get a little easier. If people have slightly more healthcare coverage, that gives them maybe another hour or two every day that they can dedicate to direct action, to organizing. If people get a slight minimum wage increase, that gives them more money that they can play around with. Maybe buy a gas mask. Maybe buy a backpack. Maybe get ready to go to protests. This is what you have to think about. Because you can't just go, okay, new president, let's start over. That's not how it works. Every president has been a criminal. Every president has been a racist. Yes, even the black one. And every president will be a criminal unless we change this system from the bottom up. Unless we change the minds of the citizens in this country. Which is happening. Over the last 2 months, there are people that worshipped the police and now hate the police. Those are people that exist in just 2 months. Imagine what we can do in 2 more months. Imagine what we can do in 2 years if we keep this energy up. The mainstream media wants you to think protests are over. No, they're still happening. They're accelerating. But they don't want you to know because they're scared. But guess what? The revolution won't be televised, but it sure as hell will be live streamed. Pay attention. Stay mad. Because your anger will be able to save lives in the future. The people born today will be looking at us. What were you doing when I was 5 years old? I think about this. I'm 24. What was my mom doing when I was 5 years old? Nothing. Well, she was working her job. She was a single mother, all that kind of stuff. But she didn't teach me anything. She didn't teach me how to be a good Samaritan, a well-informed citizen. I want to be in a situation in 15 to 20 years from now, 25 years from now, I can tell my kids, or, maybe my nieces or nephews or whatever, I want to tell them that I was on the front lines. That the benefits that they're enjoying right now, I fought for. I was a member of the resistance, the real resistance. Not this stupid neoliberal crap, LARPing garbage cosplay, but I was part of a real movement that pushed the consensus in this country back to where it needs to be in the direction of the people. And again, this is a little thing I can make a fucking video about, George W. Bush people, and maybe people will click on this. And this is what I want to do. I talk about electoralism in a way to board people off of electoralism onto direct action. I get it. Politics as sports, it's fun, even if you're a leftist, even if you detest the politics of sports thing. If you're just if you're just engaged in electoralism and not direct action, honestly, in a lot of ways, you're just as bad as the liberals. And I'm not saying that to be derogatory. I'm saying that in the sense where you need to do what you can in your local, in your local town. Even if it's donating to bail funds, even if it's, knowing someone who knows someone who's in a bad spot and being able to help them out. If you have a lawyer friend and someone else or whatever. There's so many connections you can make that aren't about electoral politics, that are real, that will last a lifetime maybe. And these are the bonds that if we build them, nothing can take us down. And I do think Biden is a weaker foil than Trump. That's my opinion. But either way, you can't let this energy disappear. You need to spend all the time at protests convincing people that yes, Trump is the enemy, but so is Nancy Pelosi, so are the Democrats, so is Joe Biden. These people need to get this message now. Any of the liberals in these protests, you need to talk to them. You need to tell them this is a systemic problem. Look at what happened in Ferguson. Look at what happened in Standing Rock throughout the Obama administration. This is not a Trump thing. Trump made it worse, yeah, that's a fact. But it's not a Trump problem. It is a problem of America. It is an American problem. Who signed the 94 crime bill into law? A Democrat. Who wrote the 94 crime bill? Joe Biden. I rest my case.